So our next talk today is from Jure, who's going to talk to us about ice cream today. He's going to tell us later what that means in the Python context. And Jure is truly a pillar of the DragonPy community, I would say. And he writes a very interesting blog on sourdough and people skills in IT. So you should definitely go check that out later. And yeah, let's begin.
Thank you, Alan. So one of the libraries that I really enjoy using in the last few months is called icecream. And it's essentially a library that helps you better print stuff to your terminal. So here I have a short code sample that basically grabs some JSON data and then uses a for loop to print either print or pretty print the item in this list we get back. So the output looks something like this. So, we get either some text mashed up together, or maybe pretty print kind of tries to format it a bit nicer. And here is like where icecream library comes in. You install it with pip as any other Python package from ice, and then you use from icecream import ic, and you just use ic item just as you would with print, and you get a much nicer output. And that's like, that's not that important as is, it's readable, but at the same time, you can actually see in the first few characters here, it says IC pipe item. And it's essentially telling you that when you called IC with the variable name, that was the variable name. It was called item. And we can take this further, right? So let's say I'm looping through this list and I'm printing like, the value of title key in each dictionary. And once again, when I get output, I get item title, and it's like really clearly written. And of course, in these simple examples, it looks very simple, but when you have like a larger code base and sometimes you print, and if it's exception and so on, it becomes much clearer, like what are you printing from where and so on. And it also has this kind of very nifty little tricks. So you can proxy items through it. So, it returns the value that it gets inside. So you will get, you see like slugify title through this, for example. It can also do a self-inspection. So here you can see like grabpy is the name of the Python module on line 54, and that was just the IC line. So once again, it helps you define like where, from where this kind of debugging output is coming. And that's about it. Like, it's a really nifty small library. It's also ported to, another 10 different languages. So if you're using Ruby or something, it's also available there. And I encourage you to check it out and give it a try. Thank you.
Thanks, Jure. Any questions?
How does it work?
Okay.
As far as I look at it, I haven't looked at it closely, but looking from the README, it does use some meta Python magic, like to look up like what was the inspected variable that it inspected and so on. But otherwise, I'm expecting it just deals with output in the same way. So it's not trying to be too smart, just smart enough.
That's my motto.
Yeah, I had a similar question as well. Actually, when you said it, I realized that I had it as well. So I'm probably gonna go check it out later because I think it has to use some kind of inspect module magic or something.
Yeah, and it also supports magic where you can kind of auto-inject it into your whole Python application. So let's say you have a big web app. You don't have to do from icecream import IC every time. There's a snippet you can put into like global init, like initial init, and it will make that available across all your code.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I liked it, and I was also thinking about this talk kind of got me thinking about, how we're always hearing that we shouldn't be using print for debugging, and we, have to be using a debugger in our IDE. So are you saying that you are on the side of using print here, or is it a case by case? And yeah, is debugging still kind of like the main use case for this library, or are you saying that there's maybe other use cases?
In a perfect world, my PyCharm would talk to my Python applications, and I would set up
It's trying to do
breakpoints
that.
and so on. Sorry, just, I would log with a logger. So actually, I think there are like 3 different layers. One is my IDE does that, and you set up kind of watch variables. The second layer would be, I have a logger and I'm actually configured it correctly. And the third one is like, anything goes kind of, I just put print whenever I want. And this is like this one, like, maybe there's like a vagrant thing or something I'm running on a server, or I just can't be bothered. So if I can't be bothered, then icecream is much nicer than pprint.
Oh, there's always that one guy who uses PDB exclusively. Hi, Jure. I do use a debugger, but we were kind of...
I enjoy PDB. I think IPDB is a bit better, or BDB or something.
I mean, IPDB, of course. Of course.
We were like kind of pushed into the PyCharm debugger at work. And I did use a lot of print before that, but I was always kind of ashamed to admit that, like a dirty little secret. So Jure, you are saying that debugging is the main use case for this library. Or could you like imagine another one?
I mean, I just like having nice status outputs. So sometimes I would get like a, just kind of, yeah, it's very well, either debugging or just kind of like printing, like fetching this data, waiting for server. This is what I got back and so on. I don't know. It's just one more tool.
Yeah. Yeah, I see your point. I guess it's not like a yes or no answer to a question, should or shouldn't you use print for debugging? I guess, there's times where maybe you don't have
If
time,
somebody
or
can give me like a
other.
small 3-line snippet that I can put on a top of a like a 20-line throwaway shell, like Python thing, I would gladly use that. But I can't,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I haven't bothered enough yet to configure logger in a good way for writing a quick Python script.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Don Magoi says he's always had issues debugging ray remote functions. And yeah, I will try the library as well. It looks kind of cool. Was icecream originally made for Python? The repo lists many languages as well. I understood it like that it was originally made for Python, because you said, Jure, that it was ported to other languages, or...
Yeah, it does seem so. And all the other languages kind of refer back to the Python one, all the other ports. Yeah, PHP port of Python's icecream. It seems like it was first written for Python.
Yeah, like I said, it looks nice. I'll give it a try. Because maybe print never really goes out of style, so that could be the lesson.